guys, welcome back. We are here for your top 4 match. As always, I am still Regina. This is still Arnie. Yeah. So before we get into it, just want to let you guys know, maybe today you were looking at these matches and went, huh, I want to play that in person. We are a store located in Southern California, which is where all these people are at. So if you wanted to play, I have some good news for you. If you don't have any plans on New Year's Day, we are running another tournament that, like I said, it will be the last chance for a lot of these people to be playing in person right before San Diego. But you know, we really want to do our best to like give you guys a place to play and practice and all that. So we are holding one more tournament New Year's Day. You can come celebrate the new year with us. Yay! New Year just before like, you know, VDC finally gets a chance to earn some championship points and all that jazz. But we are going to get into it here for our top 4 match. You've seen both of these players before. Matt giving us that wonderful knockoff Masquerada into that Maushold and like it paying dividends on that last turn.
Insane
when it match. So good, so fantastic, so love it. And Aaron, you had seen play earlier as well. He also had a Hariyama, like, which we've seen actually kind of multiple times on the stream, which I'm honestly genuinely surprised about. Yeah.
It seems
I am crossing my fingers.
Seems to be interesting.
Really hoping that we can see a Palafin this time.
I love Palafin. Palafin is like one of my favorites ever.
I adore it. Yep. I really want to see it. Don't know if we will.
I used it a little today. It came through. Hopefully it works.
It doesn't lend itself really well to Masquerada. You have to figure out some way to like, you have to figure out some way to pivot around it, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, you have the moves to do it to take it on, but like, unless you're Tailwind or Choice Scarf, it's gonna be able to outspeed you and Flower Trick. I mean, you could also like Terra type into something else, but Palafin generally benefits from water unless you're me.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you'll be seeing on the stream right now is they're just kind of like setting up right now, like their cameras and like their like connection to each other, choosing the rules and all that good jazz.
We should see their teams pop up here.
Yeah.
Just a minute.
Yeah, I'm actually like kind of really excited for this.
It's fun.
I generally think that like, you know, like when you're talking about Matt's team, you're talking about quote unquote standard teams for like the current metagame, but I also don't think there's anything wrong with that. It shows you why it's so popular and why it's so good. But I mean, here you go. Like you've got Matt's team on your left. I've seen it before. It's gonna be that Murkrow, Goldengo, Hydreigon, Garchomp, Sylveon, and Meowscarada versus Aaron's Palafin, Pelipper, Meowscarada, Kingambit, Farfetch'd, and Hariyama.
And this is interesting because Aaron's team is generally 50-50 on speed. You have 3 Pokemon that are relatively fast, Palafin, Meowscarada, and not necessarily Pelipper, but it does have Tailwind, so it can pick that up. While on Matt's team, his team is speed-wise, we were talking about this earlier, there's 2 potential Tailwind users, Murkrow and Hydreigon, and Pelipper's interesting because it does set up the rain here, which
here's the fun part about Pelipper. Pelipper is one of the Pokemon that has access to Wide Guard.
Very fun set. I think here that's going to be very useful for that Goldengo, although Matt may not.
I mean, not just the Goldengo though, right?
Also Hydreigon, Sylveon, yeah. Like and Garchomp as well with Earthquake. Although it does get Stomping Tantrum still, it does knock down. Like force you into targeting one of the opposing 2 Pokemon instead of being able to hit them both, so it's really solid. Yeah, Wide Guard's really useful for this format. And waiting on Aaron here. I feel like Aaron's got a few possible leads. You could go for the potential Trick Room. You can go for the potential Palafin Tailwind combo. I know that Palafin, like looking at Matt's team, there's only 2 Pokemon that Palafin has to really be weary about, which is Hydreigon, and we know that the Terrestrializes to Fire, which could benefit Palafin. And then Meowscarada, which is just tough in general if you're not faster than it. So I don't know. I think these leads could go anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, right, even if you take something that's quote like what you would consider like a standard team, right, that doesn't mean that it's going to be easy to beat. You still have to play around it, and we've got the Farfetch'd and that Pelipper here as the lead versus Meowscarada and Sylveon. Sylveon tending to run something like Hyper Voice, going to have to watch out for that Wide Guard, but Pelipper's Drizzle going to bring the rain here. I guess Aaron trying to rain on Matt's parade.
Literally. Sylveon, Meowscarada. So Meowscarada is fast on the field. It has knockoff, and that's pretty useful against Furdruff.
Against most things, we did see that. Yeah.
Maushold too, evidently. But what I think here, relatively, Matt has a solid matchup against Aaron. I mean, the obvious play is to go for the Hyper Voice plus the knockoff on Furdruff, but I think you're going to basically lose the Tailwind, so I feel like ideally you want to double target onto that Pelipper But then again, Aaron, this is one of those like 50-50 matchups because you don't know what's in the back for Aaron. Could be relatively fast, it could benefit from Tailwind, or it could be relatively slow and benefit from the Trick Room. So you gotta kind of pick which is your threat here. Do you target and try and get rid of Tailwind, or get rid of the Trick Room? And we're gonna see for draft Terrestrialize into Fairy here right away. Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those where you're going to be careful because, like, yeah, if that knockout goes into you, it's a lot of trouble. But Citrus Berry going to make sure that Pelipper can't get any of that recover. Still going for the Hyper Voice, going to pick up that knockout on Pelipper. Not sure if that crit really sort of matters with the Pick Slate boost as well. Not going to do as much damage into that Farafrig. However, Sylveon going to get that boost now from that Throat Spray. Going to put it at a +1 special attack Farafrig, though able to go for that Trick Room. So it says, hey, you know what? It's cool that you guys are all faster. Doesn't even matter anymore because now the speed is on our side.
And that Fairy was that was a really solid, in my opinion, that was a really solid Terrestrial Fairy, because now looking at this, Meowscarada is in trouble. Sylveon, I mean, it has options, but it's not necessarily going to do much on Fridriff. And King Gambit, I believe, is going to be fastest on the field thanks to that Trick Room, and that's going to pose a threat to Sylveon. Meowscarada here, I mean, it can't really do too much. I think it's kind of...
No, I was going to say, Sylveon here is actually the threat now for that King Gambit.
Yeah, the thing is, well, it's terrestrial. Well, it is terrestrialing into fire here, but there's the rain, so it's basically like another neutral hit. So, I mean, it may work out.
Oh, you know what? Here, so I don't know if you would see what Matt had clicked into, but if that Meowscarada can survive a double hit, he is going to try to reverse that Trick Room right now. So Farafrig is going for that Dazzling Gleam, is going to double down into both of those Pokemon. Is going to get that Meowscarada down into knockout range. Sylveon takes it like a champ. Kotao Cleave from that King Gambit. Yep, going to deny the reverse Trick Room here. So Sylveon is going to be like, okay, well, this is the best that I can do right now. Meowscarada unable to sort of go for that Trick Room reversal, however, is going to be able to pick up that knock on Farafrig. That King Gambit just shook that one like a champ as well.
And now Kotao Cleave is going to be able to go neutral damage on the Sylveon, which Sylveon's not known for its defense stat. And with Hydreigon and Garchomp being the last two Pokemon on Matt's side, that makes it a real tough situation. Both of them can't reverse the Trick Room. I too would go into Garchomp here because, I mean, you have to protect. That's probably, like, your only option is to stall out Trick Room. I mean, that's
what you have to do, right? And if you don't have a way to reverse it, especially because the one Pokemon that you have is unable to do so, then right now what you're doing at this point is you're saying, hey, the best that I can do is make sure that I at least am able to, you know, knock out some turns of Trick Room, make sure you can't really do much damage to me in that moment.
Yeah, and Aaron's Pokemon sends out his Meowscarada, which is his last of the remaining two Pokemon. Here, I think with Meowscarada, it's actually not terrible because it does have that focus sash, so Sylveon, I mean, can hit it. I really kind of, I'm expecting it to protect, but like if it doesn't protect here, then the
Sylveon detected, and then Garchomp is actually going for Earthquake right now.
That's smart, I'd say, but because
oh, no Terrestrializing either though. Oh, he had to eat it with the Farafrig.
Meowscarada protects. Yeah, I wouldn't. I think Aaron here is actually in a bit of a tough position. But yeah, the Kotao Cleave is going to go into the Sylveon slot, which now lends itself to a free Earthquake from Garchomp. And that may be enough because it's at half health here. If not, then I think Aaron's got a good chance if it lives this.
Look, the thing that I think I agree here with Matt is that it's his decision here was that, hey, nothing is really gonna like kill this Garchomp. I don't have to like really worry about that, so I'm free to go for that Earthquake. The Meowscarada here is also like in that really tough spot because now it has to deal with like two Pokemon here, one more in the back. I
think it's pretty much game here. Yeah, it's a forfeit. Yeah, that Meowscarada, it just kind of is unfortunate, actually, which is kind of a shame for Aaron here because it was his own Trick Room that was his undoing because Meowscarada was faster. It's always a good idea to bring out something faster for late games to clean up, but I guess didn't expect that this Pokemon earlier would have gone down as fast as they did. I think that King Gambit took a lot more damage from a Hyper Voice than expected. It's relatively...
Matt did. Yeah.
It's relatively bulky King Gambit, but I feel like its special attack is where its weakness is, and it is very visible when you hit it. Like, just as Sylveon is not known for its attack stat, or its defense stat, King Gambit is not known for its special defense stat. I think here, it's tough, but I personally, maybe it's because I'm a fan of Palafin, but I think it's a solid matchup because it has moves to actually knock out
You just gotta be careful about the Meowscarada, right?
Yeah.
You have to, if you get rid of Meowscarada, then yeah, sure, Palafin is totally fine here. I think you still have to worry about sort of your speed.
Yeah, the only thing, I think here too, it's tough because you do have so many Pokemon with Trick Room and Tailwind. If Aaron can get that speed control right away, and what's interesting too, I wouldn't be surprised, say it is Meowscarada or Hydreigon, right? You have two different options for what you're going to lead with for speed control. Murkrow as well, but that's not as threatening. If Aaron here leads Pelipper, there's a potential they can go in for a Hurricane onto Meowscarada, and that might be able to remove the threat from Palafin. Like a flip turn, it won't do enough, but like we're gonna see King Gambit and Pelipper, which is actually quite smart because King Gambit has potential for Sucker Punch, may be able to pick up some KOs.
Well, yeah, and like the fact that it's against the Meowscarada Sylveon, right?
I think
you don't have to worry about like that damage from Hyper Voice as much because you'll be resisting some. You're at least taking neutral damage from it. You'll have to worry after the Throat Spray connects. But Pelipper also has access to that Wide Guard as well. I think if you're the Pelipper though, you're kind of aiming for either the speed control here or damage onto the Meowscarada. Like if you double down into that Meowscarada, you're in a prime spot for at some point for a Palafin to just sort of like come in. But
switch out, yeah. I think here. I would go for the attack on the Meowscarada because I think
the Sylveon's not as much of a threat.
Yeah, it's the speed here. Yeah, because you can pretty much remove that, and then if Aaron's most likely does have speed control in the back as well. Oh, we see. Oh,
I guess
on the Sylveon instead. Terra Blast, not quite knocking out that Pelipper.
Yikes, that's unfortunate.
And Sylveon's gone.
Yikes, that's unfortunate. Like that Pelipper is able to hold on. It was like, hey, I don't even really miss that Citrus Berry. That's just a little bit rough because you lose your Sylveon, but you don't really have like sure you knocked off the Citrus Berry, but this Pelipper is still kind of like in a really good spot to like, at least do something this turn, right? You can Tailwind, you can at least like maybe Wide Guard if it's going for something like Earthquake to try to get rid of like that King Gambit. I think you could just stop being Tantrum into the King Gambit. Meowscarada could double down into it because honestly, even if the Pelipper hits you with Hurricane, you have your own Focus Sash. There's ways to deal with the Pelipper later. It's just a matter of you have to make sure that whatever is in the back is in a worse position than it could be for Aaron, right?
Well, what I'm thinking here with Matt, I feel like Matt outspeeds both of Aaron's Pokemon with no, because this is Wide Guard. I mean, yeah, for Earthquake, but let's see if they went for Stomping Terror from instead expecting that Wide Guard.
I think.
Knock off onto the Pelipper. And let's see what Garchomp goes here. If it basically is going to come down to...
No, he clicked into it. It wasn't the Earthquake that it had chosen.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah, Dragon Claw. Okay, there it is.
Yeah.
So, not going to chunk King Gambit, but I think Brick Break going on to the Meowscarada, that's going to get it down to the red, but not going to KO. I think Aaron...
It wouldn't KO anyway if it has a Focus Sash.
It's a Focus Sash. I think Aaron here... It's tough because I'm looking at his only way to get that speed control is Giraffe, and I think that's solid because it can trash with Fairy.
Aaron, please tell me you brought the Palafin for this because it'd be so great to just.
Palafin would not be a bad switch. Well,
because the King Gambit, at least if it can hold on for like maybe one turn, right? Because I think here you're.
Hariyama. No, you're right. Palafin would have been solid because you could have switched out and Sucker Punched on Meowscarada. But here you could fake out on the Meowscarada. King Gambit, probably not gonna really. Yeah, I mean.
Hey, you could actually if his King Gambit doesn't have Protect. Like Matt's looking at this and being like, I can do this because King Gambit actually has an Assault Vest, which is what makes it so like bulky in a lot of ways. King Gambit I think is such a great upgrade from Bisharp. Not to knock on Bisharp, I love Bisharp, but I also love the fact that it has like an evolution here, right?
Yeah, King Gambit is really solid, and its signature move is a real nice addition. It does a lot. I feel like here that's what you're gonna have to go on this Garchomp just to try and hope you live an Earthquake, basically. Although there is the potential that Hariyama does no, it doesn't have Wave Guard, so King Gambit switching out, and we're gonna see that Aaron bring in the final Pokemon, which is Giraffe. And yeah, that is the right call, but I feel like it's a bit of a tough position. We're gonna see Fake Out on the Garchomp. Very smart, knowing Meowscarada can't really do all that much. And now this Giraffe is in play with full health. Definitely a wise idea to go for Fairy and get that Trick Room going because all the rest of Aaron's Pokemon are slower.
You could just, you also could just dazzle. I mean, like
you could.
It's rough because the hard part is no matter what happens, your Ferrafrig is gonna be slow.
Yeah, and there's still Terrestrial on the field, so like I would not risk that because there is a chance because like if you go for not the Trick Room, you go for Dazzling Gleam here. One of these two could potentially terrestrialize and remove that fairy weakness, so I'm guessing Aaron's going to go ahead and terrestrialize, though, into that fairy type, because that will practically ensure it survives this turn, unless... And I don't think both targeted into the fur giraffe. Yeah, there it is. But that's a very smart typing for... and especially because now, afterwards, even if one of the two dragons on that side resists by terrestrializing, you are still going to be able to pick up extra damage thanks to the boost from the terrestrial. So Garchomp goes for Earthquake. We saw that Bullet Punch on the Hydreigon from Hariyama. That Earthquake is going to do solid damage, but it's not going to do enough. We're going to see Draco Meteor on Hariyama. It is going to knock out Hariyama, but most likely we're going to see that Trick Room come out, and now two very slow Pokemon, Furgiraffe and Kingambit on Aaron's side. I think in a really solid position, Aaron, right now. There's that Trick Room. Yeah, Matt can't really do too much with that Hydreigon because not only is it faster, it also is now -2 in special attack. I feel like it's kind of a sitting dragon. I mean, you could switch it for Meowscarada, but I feel like Meowscarada... Yeah, I mean, Meowscarada can't really do too much, except reverse the Trick Room, but that's gonna be tough.
No, I don't think you're gonna try to reverse the Trick Room with the Meowscarada. You're just gonna at this point you're gonna allow the Meowscarada to go down, get the free switch in back for the Hydreigon. After that, you're gonna reset your stats there, and then you might be able to go for like the Terra. You can Terra Fire into it, so you don't have to worry about taking like the Dazzling Gleam from there. I mean, at this point, like your big thing is you're gonna try to use that Hydreigon for your end game, or you could just go for an Earthquake here as well.
I think that's the smart play, is to just try and get rid of... Garchomp's going to protect. I mean, it's smart because you do want to stall out the Trick Room a little bit, see who you're targeting. And Furgiraffe goes for Psychic onto the Garchomp slot, and we're going to see Kingambit now, and that is going to go for Kuto Cleave also into the Garchomp slot. So Meowscarada lives right now. I mean, that doesn't really help Matt too much, considering a Dazzling Gleam would probably knock it out. I don't know. I feel like you kind of are being... It's a matter of whether or not you would live with Dazzling Gleam and Koto Cleave while terrestrializing. He's not going to... It looks like... Yeah, because it's ground type. It's not going to resist any of those two. You're probably still going to go down. I think your best bet is to basically let your Garchomp and Meowscarada go down and terrestrialize your Hydreigon and hope that that fire type is going to save you. Try and knock out Kingambit first, because Furgiraffe doesn't have as many moves that can hit you. A Dark Koto Cleave is really solid on Kingambit, so... There's that Dazzling Gleam. Probably going to knock out both of them here, especially with that terrestrial. Actually, Garchomp does live.
Yeah, so Garchomp lives, is going to be able to pull off. Actually, it's going to go after Kingambit. Yeah. So still a little bit like in trouble, but now you're kind of in the spot. So let's say however many Trick Room are left. I think it's like 2, or this might be left. So he needs to survive like 2 turns, right? What you're still doing is you're still terrestrializing into fire. You're in a really rough spot though, because that Hydreigon is at a little bit over half. It's not as healthy as you wish it would be going into these final turns.
I mean,
but you have to terrestrialize like in this moment, because if not, you're in a lot of trouble.
Okay. This is actually something that may be weird.
Oh shoot, you can't even protect. Yikes, that's rough.
Matt could be going for the mind games here and not terrestrialize, expecting that Aaron's going to think he is. Then Aaron could go for a Psychic and a Kuto Cleave into the Hydreigon while it stays Dark type. It'll probably live that and pick up a possible knockout on Kingambit. Then it can terrestrial and get rid of that.
I would just I would just take the Dazzling Gleam anyway, because there's no reason like...
I mean, it was one of those things where you could like overthink it and potentially do it, because even if... Yeah, because even if you're just terrestrial.
So here's the thing too, right? Because like either way you're going to get the stab for it, but why would you risk not connecting one of your moves versus guaranteeing a connection?
Exactly.
Especially because Dazzling Gleam becomes single target in that moment, and since Hydreigon's like the only one there. Yeah,
and I mean that would have gotten it down to at least one more hit and it would have knocked out, and Hydreigon I think would have needed at least 2 to hit that Furgiraffe out. So wise plays on both, and with both players here, 1-to-1, very intense. I think that Aaron adapted really well with that Trick Room. We saw kind of misstepped and didn't really play to his advantage with the Trick Room in the first match. Now absolutely commanded speed and was able to put Matt in that position where it was 2 slow Pokemon against all the rest fast.
It's a little rough, like when your Meowscarada is your only form of countering Trick Room, right? Because then you're in a spot where, because of the fact that you have open team sheets, they know like, okay, well, this is what is going to happen. So Meowscarada just has a giant target on its back, and I think when you're Aaron, right, being able to protect your Furafrig for that amount of time, and then just sort of Kingambit actually having a pretty decent matchup into most of these things, especially with that Assault Vest as well. I think leading Sylveon might have been a little bit where like you stumble because Sylveon doesn't have as much pressure against Aaron's team as it normally would, right? You've got that King Gambit and that Frafrig who, once you like terastallize it to Fairy, this is sort of going to ignore that like damage a little bit more from Sylveon.
Yeah.
So I think you really have to focus on denying the Trick Room.
Yeah, which in that case you're going to want to go into Pokemon like...
Well, he's changing his lead.
Yeah, I believe it's... yeah, I mean... See, the hard part here is if they're with Trick Room for Giraffe, it's one of those things where if it terrestrializes, you have to plan for that, and its weaknesses are so different after it terrestrializes into Fairy that you kind of have to guess, are you going to terrestrialize on turn 1 or are you not? And I mean, looking at the team, there's not a ton that Matt can do to really stop it if it terrestrializes as a Fairy. I mean, Goldengo was his only sealed attacker here, so yeah. And we're going to see Pelipper and King Gambit while Matt's going to bring out Masquerada and Hydreigon.
I mean, Aaron's like, you know, been sticking with that. It hasn't like hurt him yet, especially because that Drizzle really protects the King Gambit from any sort of like fire type moves. You know, you see Hydreigon say, oh yeah, you have Heat Wave, but it's not going to matter if I bring in the rain. Meowscarada has been knocking stuff off, but maybe like here, you know, you don't have to worry about Trick Room, but maybe you have to worry about protecting that Meowscarada and making sure that it can survive in case the Trick Room does go up. Sure, you can start knocking stuff off, but at what cost to your Meowscarada?
And what's interesting here, though, Matt does have the 2 faster Pokemon on the field, and I feel like, for me, like I would personally go for a double down onto the Pelipper slot because you know, based on Team Cheat, it doesn't have Protect as Wide Guard. So double downing on it would be kind of a blessing and a curse. It's good because A, you can get rid of the Tailwind, but you're also gonna, and we're gonna see it switch out here into Hariyama, but knowing that the Giraffe is possibly in the back is really scary because there's that knockoff, which is going to get rid of the Flame Orb, so Hariyama no longer gets its Guts boost. But, and Dark Pulse, 2 Dark moves onto the Hariyama. It's going to live that. But
I mean, hey, you know what? You had the right idea doubling down into it. And then so did Matt, but Aaron was just sort of like, I see that, and I'm just going to go ahead and, like, keep that Pelipper safe. So now Hydreigion's going to have to take that much damage from a Brick Break. I mean, Hariyama also, like, you know, didn't come off, like, clean here. No. You have that Fake Out potential now with it on the field. It doesn't get, like, that Guts boost, like you said, because that Flame Orb was knocked off. But for all its troubles coming into the field, at least you have a little bit of Fake Out pressure. Hydreigon took a lot of damage from that King Gambit. Meowscarada is actually probably in a spot where like you can like start doing massive damage to it with Flower Trick.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, Flower Trick will probably be able to KO that Hariyama now. I think because of that, it may be a little bit of a better position, but we're going to see Meowscarada get faked out here, which means Hydreigon is going to be able to move, and it goes for a Heat Wave. It is in the rain, so it really doesn't do much on either.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it getting the burn? Because if it gets the burn, that's actually really good for him.
That's huge.
Like, that's great for late game. I think this it actually went after the Meowscarada. Yeah, so
that Meowscarada lived because of a burn.
Fantastic dividends right now for it. You know what? Like, hey, Hydreigon, you are the MVP of this team right now. That is ridiculous. Like,
that may have decided the match. I mean, I'm thinking about what's in the back.
Hariyama sitting there thinking to itself, I'm the one who's supposed to get burned. What the heck, guys? I mean, like, really, right? Like,
it's
if you're
true.
looking at it, like, that burn makes all the difference because you could have done so much more damage onto that. Like, that Fake Out plus that Brick Break would have been probably enough to pick up the knockout on Meowscarada. Yeah. And at this point now, you don't even need to worry about the sort of speed control because
it's
well, you still have to worry about it with Frafrig in the back.
Yeah, but like, Sucker Punch onto the Hydreigon, so Hydreigon's gone. But Aaron's Pokemon here, like, they are now half health. One of them's burned, so its attack stack is half. Trick Room would not really help. Bullet Punch coming out on the Meowscarada isn't going to pick up a KO, and Flower Trick is going to be able to.
See, and that's the opposite of what happens because the Hariyama didn't get burned.
Yep. It would have been like it would have been a different story if that Hariyama got burned from that Heat Wave instead.
Yeah, then the Meowscarada goes down on this turn. But yeah, this King Gambit's a little bit on like in that spot where it's like, well, my attack has been hurt, and also now I'm on an HP timer. I mean, really, like the thing you have to worry about now is like because the Pelipper is going to be switching in, or like the fact that there is a Pelipper that has Wide Guard, right? What are your choices now for moves between Sylveon and Garchomp? You've got Hyper Voice and you've got Earthquake for those as spread moves, and it becomes sort of like how do you target stuff down?
Sylveon, actually Sylveon's really not terrible because, and we're going to see Pelipper come back in. I think here, because Flower Trick is going to go first no matter what, it's going to be able to pretty much hit on that Pelipper, and then you click. I don't think King Gambit is a threat. I think
if you got the Sucker Punch still.
Yeah, but it's burned, and I guess it can possibly knock out Meowscarada. Like here, let's still be.
That's still a gamble I think you would take, right? Unless like the Meowscarada is. I would go for the Garchomp.
Yeah, I would go for Hyper Voice Flower Trick because you're going to be able to at least hit the Pelipper in some regard, no matter what it moves. It goes for.
I actually really appreciate like the knockoff because you want to make sure that Pelipper can't stay around to heal.
Yeah, knockoff solid too. I mean, they're both. Flower Trick. I don't think would have KO'd. It may have, but. Knockoff's probably a safer bet in general.
Well, you're knocking off the Citrus Berry, right? Because at least you're preventing any sort of heal. He didn't go for the Sucker Punch on here. All right, that was an interesting choice. I guess he was expecting.
Yeah, Pelipper's gone.
Maybe he was expecting like a switch out, but that crit on the Pelipper, I
don't necessarily.
I mean, with Pixelate Hyper Voice, right? But you get the Throat Spray boost as well, so that puts King Gambit in also kind of a spot. However, going for the Iron Head does not.
That still does quite a bit, but it's not going to be enough. It was basically you needed a crit there. Maybe that's what he was banking on. I mean, those odds are slim, but it may have been his only choice here. Fruit coming in, and now you're in a tough... I mean, you have to Sucker Punch on Meowscarada. You have no other choice. But Fruit, I mean, Trash Rolling the Fairy... Okay, it's actually interesting. If you Trash Roll the Fairy, your last mon in the back is Garchomp, which... Aaron may have a chance just because Fruit is bulky.
No, but it's a ground Terrastalize.
Yeah, but still, I mean... Yeah, I think because
then at that point, like if you lose all your other Pokemon and it's just Farafrig versus Garchomp, then you consider the fact that Earthquake becomes a single target right here, right? That's although Aaron Terrastalizing.
We may see that's going on to Fairy. I wouldn't be surprised to see Trick Room right now because that'll mean. I think Trick Room, even if you ground Terrastalize on Garchomp, Fruit lives one hit, which means if it's Dazzling Gleam. Does 2. Sucker Punch fails on Meowscarada.
Oh no, which means...
Oh, that was... Fake Tears.
That's so smart. So you can guarantee... Oh my gosh. You're going to get it. You're going to get it about Hoggins with +1 minus... Oh, that's so
the game.
Smart.
That was smart. That was it.
That was really nice. That was a really good last turn.
Perfect Fake Tears.
I love that, like, you know, Meowscarada has been sitting here with his Fake Tears this entire time we've been staring at it. And that was, like, the best time for that to come out. Because, you know what, Sucker Punch would have been, like, a fantastic idea in that moment. I think you would Sucker Punch the turn earlier. That would have been an entirely different game at that point. But going for the Fake Tears in that instant, just to make sure that that +1 from that Sylveon will, like, have enough damage. I mean, I still think that Garchomp would have been able to clean up in the back because
it probably would have.
Enough damage from Sylveon is going to make sure that Farafrig won't be able to really survive a potential single target Earthquake. So.
I mean, what's interesting to me though, this Meowscarada has been the MVP of Matt's team. That and the Hydreigon Bird, but Meowscarada knocked off on the mouse hold earlier, saved it. Fake Tears on the Giraffe. It didn't matter as much, but it did end the game for it. I mean, like, this Meowscarada is doing things that, like, we are not expecting to. I've not seen Fake Tears Meowscarada yet in competitive. I mean, I have a feeling it'll be more common because it's really fast, it's good, but this is the first I've seen it in online.
I mean, it's really smart, right? Because especially when you're pairing it with something like that Sylveon who has already, like, won, like, a good special attack. So when you're Terrastalizing, or even if you're not, right, there's a lot of things that are suddenly resistant to Fairy. So giving it that extra boost with, like, so let's say you get the Throat Spray with a +1 and then a -2 special defense, all of a sudden, like, this is my favorite thing to say about Sylveon, it screams and things just get knocked out.
Exactly. Right? It really does. I mean, Hyper Voice is a huge threat, and we're going to see that Hyper Voice come back in just a few moments for the final match of today's tournament.
Yep, we'll be waiting just on that last other match to see who's going to be facing against Matt in the finals. In the meantime, if you guys just want to hang out and wait, don't forget, you know, you should take a look at what your plans are for New Year's Day right now and mark it on your calendar that we're going to have another tournament. Or if you're in the area and you just actually want to have a fun community day, POW Gaming will be having a community day on Friday night. That would be December 23rd. They'll be having a Splatoon community night. So if you want to show off your Splat skills, you are more than welcome to show up here for that. And I think the address here is 9459 Telegraph Road, Pico Rivera, California. It is, you know, it's a really fun space, and the community here that they are growing, that they have, is really fantastic. So again, also want to, like, before we head into finals, before I forget, I also want to thank POW Gaming and Pokemon Labs, our very own Miguel, for helping us host this tournament. I know a lot of people, you know, don't want to go to tournaments or play tournaments if there's no CP online, so it really means a lot to us that, one, they helped us out with this tournament, and two, that we had people show up and come out for this. Like, we really do appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, yeah, thanks to everyone, and thank you guys for watching. I mean, you know, obviously it is awesome that this community is growing bigger than I think it ever has, the VGC community in SoCal. So keep going. It's amazing already to see all the love and support online and here in the store today, and just it's awesome that this group is becoming very close and we are getting more and more people into VGC. It's awesome to see because it's such a fun game, and it's just amazing to see how much it's grown. Even just from the little bit I've played, I mean, since 2018, like it is like almost doubled in size, I think, since then. So it's amazing. I mean,
Scarlet Violet is great. Fuecoke is the best starter, and with that, we'll see you guys in finals. Bye. I will not let anybody say otherwise.